Download this code from codegive.com, link in the description below. Vscode, PHP, and xdebug, troubleshooting connected but not debugging. Getting xdebug working with Vscode for PHP can be a frustrating experience, especially when you're seemingly connected but not hitting breakpoints. This comprehensive tutorial will walk you through the common causes of this problem, provide solutions with code examples, and offer debugging strategies to get your PHP debugging environment up and running reliably. Understanding the problem, connected but not debugging. This usually means debug is successfully connecting to Vscode, but asterisk breakpoints are not being hit. Asterisk execution doesn't pause, allowing you to inspect variables or step through code. Asterisk no errors are reported in Vscode's debug console or PHP logs. The key is that the connection is established, so the course debug setup, installation, port, basic settings, is likely correct. The issue often lies in the details, incorrect paths, misconfigurations, firewall issues, or even code-level problems that prevent breakpoints from being reached. Prerequisites asterisk Vscode installed and configured. PHP installed and accessible from your terminal. Make sure the version matches the one your web server uses. PHP in your terminal will show the PHP version. Xdebug installed and configured in your PHP installation. PHP mgrep xdebug should show xdebug in the output. Vscode PHP debug extension installed in Vscode. Step 1. Verifying basics debug installation and configuration. The first step is to ensure that xdebug is correctly installed and configured on your PHP server. 1. Check xdebug installation open your terminal or command prompt and run. The output should include information about xdebug. Look for lines indicating the version and the enabled status. If xdebug is not listed, you need to install it. The installation process varies depending on your operating system and PHP installation method. Refer to the xdebug documentation, https://xdebug.org/docs/install, https://xdebug.org/docs/install, for detailed instructions tailored to your environment. Using PECL, PHP Extension Community Library, is often the easiest method. 2. Xdebug configuration, php.ini. Find your php.ini file. This is crucial. The location of php.ini varies. Linux often located in /etc/php/version/cli/php.ini and /etc/php/version/apache2/php.ini, adjust version accordingly. You can also find the loaded php.ini by running php.ini in your terminal. Mac OS if using MAMP or Homebrew, the location will depend on your setup. Look for php.ini in the MAMP configuration folders or Homebrew's PHP installation directory. If using PHP installed by Mac OS directly, usually older versions, it may be in /etc/php.ini. Check php.ini to be certain. Windows typically found in C/XAMPP/PHP/PHP.ini or C/WAMP/Ben/PHP/version/PHP.ini if you're using XAMPP or WAMP. Again, php.ini will tell you definitively. Edit your php.ini file and add the following xdebug configuration, or modify existing settings. Explanation of the settings ***xend _extension equals debug, this enables the xdebug extension. **xdebug.mode equals debug, sets the xdebug mode to debugging. Other modes are available, example coverage, profile. *xdebug.start_with_request equals yes, tells xdebug to attempt a debugging connection on every request. Useful for web development. Consider setting this to trigger and using a browser extension or adding xdebug_session_start equals name to your URL for more control in production. *xdebug.client_host equals 127.0.0.1, specifies the IP address where xdebug should connect. 127.0.0.1, or localhost, represents your local machine. If debugging inside a Docker container, this may need to be the IP of your host machine. *xdebug.client_port equals 9000, the port that xdebug uses to communicate with the debugger, Vscode. This should match the port configured in your Vscode launch.json. *xdebug.log equals /tmp/xdebug.log, optional, enables debug logging to a file. This is invaluable for diagnosing issues. Make sure the web server user has right permissions to this file. Adjust the path to a valid and writable location for your system. *xdebug.discover_client_host equals 1, optional, if your PHP code is running inside a Docker container and your IDE is on the host machine. Setting this to 1 allows debug to automatically detect the host's IP address. *xdebug.idkey equals Vscode, optional, if you are using multiple IDEs at the same time to debug. Setting this to a specific value ensures that xdebug connects to the correct IDE. This value should match the IDkey in your launch.json file. 3. Restart your web server ** after modifying php.ini, restart your web server, example Apache, Nginx, PHP's built-in web server, for the changes to take effect. This is a crucial step. 4. Verify configuration * create a PHP file, example xdebug_info.php, with the following content. Access this file through your web browser, example http://localhost/xdebug_info.php. Search the output for xdebug. If xdebug is correctly configured, you'll see detailed information about its settings. Pay close attention to the configured values for client_host and client_port to confirm they are what you expect. If you don't see xdebug information, double-check the previous steps, especially the php.ini file path and the web server restart. Step 2. Configuring Vscode for PHP debugging. Now, let's configure Vscode to listen for xdebug connections. 1. Install the PHP debug extension *. If you haven't already, install the PHP debug extension by Felix Becker from the Vscode marketplace. 2. Create or modify launch.json *. Go to the debug view in Vscode, the bug icon in the activity bar, and click the Create a launch.json file link, if you don't already have one. Choose PHP as the environment. This will create a .vscode/launch.json file in your project. Modify the launch.json file to match the following configuration, or adapt an existing one. Explanation ****. Name, a descriptive name for the debug configuration. *type, specifies the debugger type, PHP. *request, set to launch to tell Vscode to listen for incoming xdebug connections. *port, the port that Vscode listens on. This must match the xdebug.client_port setting in your php.ini file, usually 9000. *path mappings, this is critical. This section defines the mapping between the paths used by xdebug, on the server, and the paths used by Vscode, on your local machine. Asterisk the left side of the mapping, example /var/www/html, is the absolute path to your project root on the server where your PHP code is being executed. This is often different from your local machine's path. If you're using a VM, container, or remote server, this is the path on that system. If you're working directly on your local machine, this might be something like /application/mamp/height_docs, for MAMP, or /var/www/html, for a typical Linux setup. Asterisk the right side of the mapping, $workspace folder, represents the root directory of your project in Vscode. $workspace folder is a Vscode variable that automatically expands to the root of your open project folder. Asterisk program, this is used by launch currently open script to debug a specific PHP file, if needed. Asterisk CWD, this is used by launch currently open script to set the working directory for the debug session. Asterisk xdebug settings, allows tuning the parameters for xdebug. Step 3, troubleshooting connected but not debugging. Now that we've covered the basic setup, let's dive into the most common reasons why you might be connected but not debugging. 1. Incorrect path mappings. Asterisk this is the most common culprit. Asterisk mismatched paths. Asterisk double check that the left side of the path mappings in launch.json accurately reflects the path to your project root as seen by the PHP server. Asterisk example. Asterisk if your PHP code is running in a Docker container and is located at /var/www/html inside the container, then the left side should be /var/www/html. Asterisk finding the server path. Asterisk a useful trick is to use the following PHP code to display the absolute path of a file on the server. Access this file through your web browser and note the absolute path. Use that path as the left side of the path mappings in your launch.json file. Asterisk case sensitivity. Asterisk Linux file systems are case sensitive. Make sure the case of the paths in path mappings matches the actual file system paths. Asterisk missing trailing slash. Asterisk be consistent with trailing slashes. If your server path ends with a slash, example /var/www/html/, make sure the mapping uses a trailing slash as well. Example asterisk. Let's say your project is located at /users/yourname/myproject on your local machine, and on the server, example a VM or container, it's located at /var/www/html/myproject. Your launch.json should look like this. 2. Firewall issues. Asterisk firewall blocking. xdebug. Asterisk your firewall might be blocking the connection between xdebug, on the server, and Vscode, on your local machine. Make sure that port 9000, or the port you've configured, is open for both incoming and outgoing traffic. Asterisk Docker firewall. Asterisk if you're using Docker, you might need to expose the debug port, 9000, in your docker compose.yml file or through Docker's command line arguments. Example, docker compose.yml. Important for Docker. Asterisk when using Docker, xdebug.client_host in your php.ini often needs to be set to host.docker.internal to allow xdebug to connect back to your host machine. This requires Docker Desktop 18.03 Plus or Docker for Mac, stable, with docker_host_IP set, typically to the IP address of your host on the Docker network. The environment section in the docker compose.yml file is a convenient way to set the xdebug_config environment variable which will properly configure xdebug. An alternative is to set xdebug.discover_client_host equals 1 in php.ini. 3 breakpoints in unreachable code. Asterisk Asterisk syntax errors. Asterisk if your code has syntax errors before the breakpoint, the script may fail before reaching it. Check your PHP error logs. Asterisk logical errors. Asterisk your code may have logical errors that prevent the execution flow from ever reaching your breakpoints, example an if statement that always evaluates to false. Asterisk auto-loading issues. Asterisk if you're using auto-loading, make sure your auto-loader is correctly configured and that the files containing your breakpoints are being loaded. Example asterisk. In this example, the division by 0 will cause a fatal error before the breakpoint is reached, preventing the debugger from stopping. For incorrect file permissions asterisk. Asterisk the web server user, example www.data on Linux, needs read access to the PHP files you're trying to debug. If the files have incorrect permissions, the server might not be able to execute them, and the debugger won't be triggered. Asterisk checking file permissions. Asterisk use LSL, Linux/Mac OS, or check the file properties in Windows Explorer to view the file permissions. Asterisk changing file permissions, Linux/Mac OS. This will change the ownership of the files to the www data user and group and set the permissions to allow the web server to read and execute the files. Adjust the user and group as needed for your system. 5 conflicting xdebug configurations asterisk. Asterisk if you have multiple php.ini files, example one for CLI and one for the web server, ensure that xdebug is configured consistently across all of them. Inconsistencies can lead to unexpected behavior. Asterisk be wary of environment variables overriding settings in php.ini. Xdebug honors environment variables, allowing for dynamic configuration. 6 caching issues, opcode caches. Asterisk if you're using an opcode cache like opcache, it might be caching an outdated version of your code. Disable opcache or clear the cache during development to ensure that you're debugging the latest code. Asterisk disabling opcache asterisk add the following to your php.ini file. Remember to restart your web server after making this change. 7 Vscode extension conflicts. Asterisk some Vscode extensions can interfere with the PHP debug extension. Try disabling other extensions temporarily to see if that resolves the issue. 8 Incomplete reload after editing php.ini. Asterisk after changing php.ini, be absolutely certain that both the PHP CLI and PHP FPM/web server have been restarted. This is a common mistake. Restarting the server alone is not always enough. Step 4, Debugging strategies. If you've tried all the above steps and are still struggling, here are some debugging strategies. 1. Xdebug logging asterisk enable xdebug logging by setting xdebug.log in your php.ini file. Examine the log file for error messages or clues about why xdebug is not working as expected. This is the most valuable debugging tool. 2. Simplify your code asterisk create a very simple PHP file with a single breakpoint to isolate the issue. This helps rule out complexities in your larger project. 3. Check Vscode's debug console asterisk look for any error messages or warnings in Vscode's debug console. 4. Use xdebug_break, asterisk you can insert xdebug_break, directly into your PHP code. This will trigger a breakpoint immediately when that line is executed. This bypasses the need to set breakpoints in Vscode and can help confirm that xdebug is connecting and functioning correctly. Remove this from production code. Note, sometimes it fails with cannot evaluate code without current call stack. 5. Restart Vscode. Asterisk it seems simple but often solves the problem, especially after installing extensions or updating Vscode itself. Example scenario and solution, Docker with incorrect path mapping. Let's say you're using Docker, and your project is mounted at /var/www/html inside the container. You've set breakpoints in Vscode, but they're not being hit. Problem you likely have an incorrect path mappings in your launch.json. Solution 1. Verify the server path use the __file___ trick mentioned earlier to confirm the absolute path of a PHP file inside the container. Access a PHP file through your web browser, and note the output of __file___. 2. Update launch.json *, adjust your launch.json to match the correct server path. 3. Restart everything *, restart your Docker container, your web server, inside the container, and Vscode to ensure that all changes are applied. Troubleshooting checklist *. Xdebug is installed and enabled in php.ini. Xdebug configuration in php.ini is correct, mode, client_host, client_port. Web server is restarted after php.ini changes. *fpinfo, shows debug information. Vscode PHP debug extension is installed. Launch.json is correctly configured, port, path mappings. Path mappings in launch.json accurately reflect server paths. Firewall is not blocking connections on port 9000, or your configured port. Breakpoints are in reachable code. File permissions are correct. No conflicting xdebug configurations. Upcode cache is disabled or cleared. Xdebug logging is enabled, and checked for errors. Try xdebug_break, in your code. Restart Vscode. Check for conflicting Vscode extensions. Verify the PHP CLI and PHP FPM/web server have both been restarted after editing php.ini. By systematically working through these steps and using the debugging strategies outlined above, you should be able to resolve the connected but not debugging issue and get your PHP debugging environment working reliably in Vscode. Good luck! Remember that xdebug configurations can be finicky, and usually one of the reasons in the checklist above is the cause.